Today I'm going to be answering one simple question. Is the 2024 Ford F-150 worth the upgrade if you're already driving a 14th generation F-Series pickup truck? This, my friends, is a 2024 Ford F-150 XLT in the Super Crew configuration with the short bed. Now, this vehicle, as tested, pretty well equipped, is just north of $87,000 Canadian or over $72,000 in the US. We will be talking about how that has changed since we drove the F-150 last. That was back in 2021. Now, there are a couple of things that I want to talk about when it comes to this specific vehicle. Today we're testing the 3.5 liter PowerBoost hybrid V6 engine. It's the same one that we drove back in 2021, but it is a very solid option if you're looking for something that has good fuel efficiency, as well as the Pro Power onboard system in the bed to allow you to run things like your tools or equipment or whatever it may be. It has 430 horsepower and 570 pound-feet of torque, uses a 10-speed automatic transmission, and the way that this vehicle is configured, we do not have the automatic 4x4 system. The vehicle does have the 4x4 system, but it's either 2 high, 4 high, or 4 low. You have to change the transfer case into the setup that you want. So, for example, I was driving home in a pretty torrential downpour. If you were watching the news, if you live here in Ontario, you know that areas like Toronto and even our areas here in southwestern Ontario got flooded Monday and Tuesday, the week that we're filming this in July, and I had to deal with driving on the 401 during that, so I had to put the vehicle in to 4x4 high mode. Not a problem, you're driving along, it'll do it, but the automatic mode would have been a nice feature to have. Now, I'm going to be as thorough as I can when it comes to this vehicle. As I mentioned, we did feature the F-150 last in 2021. That was a Lariat with the PowerBoost engine, so if you want to know absolutely everything there is to know about it, I suggest taking a look at that video. So what has changed for 2024? The facelift has brought a lot of exterior changes, but also some equipment that you should know about. All F-150s for 2024 now come with standard LED headlights, as well as the 12-inch gauge cluster and infotainment, and blind spot monitoring and rear parking sensors. So good stuff to have if you're going for this facelift and model. You're getting some good standard features. But I'm going to talk about some of the major changes as we go around the exterior of this truck. So let's start up front. So this facelift is mostly an exterior upgrade. I mentioned what's changed for the base features, but we do have a revised front end across the board for all the vehicles. The XL, SXT, XLT, and Tremor vehicles have this similar headlight setup. Basically, we've got full LED headlights, as we mentioned, and then the daytime running lights and turn signals are integrated along the center of the headlight units. Those are paired with the grille that is a little bit different than if you go with the higher up trims. Ours has a little bit different features, which we'll talk about in a second, but essentially any of the lower trims have this headlight setup. If you go with the Lariat, King Ranch, Platinum, or Raptor, you're getting more of a Cadillac style daytime running light. They're a 90-degree going along the top and down the side, and they are white LEDs, and those will continue into the bumper to create kind of a U shape, similar to how we saw on the pre-facelift, except that does not include the bumper portion for the Raptor. Out back, we do have updated taillights. While they are the same size and shape as the ones that we saw on the pre-facelift, they have been updated a little bit more, give it a little bit more of like a lightning look. Again, you go up with the higher trims, they're a little bit nicer lights, they're full LED, whereas these ones, they're kind of okay, but they don't have quite as much elegance to them as if you're going and spending the big bucks on some of the upper trims. So as I mentioned, our vehicle is pretty well equipped for an XLT. There are some changes because if you were to go with the regular XLT, you'd have a chrome bumper front and back, and then the center here would be sort of a chrome-like. Now, Ford does say that the rims, the 18-inch rims that would come standard, are chrome-like. So I imagine that the bumpers are probably real chrome, and then the finishing garnish on the grille would be kind of like a chrome-like material as well. But the grille designs are a little different depending on which trim you go with, but basically the same size and overall kind of feel to it. Ours does have a little bit more because we have the 303A XLT high package. That adds a bunch of stuff, including 10-way driver lumbar, 8-way passenger lumbar, heated front seats, the remote start with lift gate release through the keypad, keyless entry and push start. We also have the secure code on the driver's door. We have the power rear window, adaptive cruise control, 20-inch chrome-like wheels. As I mentioned, chrome-like, not chrome. You also have an 8-speaker Bang & Olufsen audio system, power pedals. That means that the pedals can be moved forward or back. So if you're taller or shorter, that might help you out. And then we also do have the work table. Again, we talked about that when we featured it back in 2021. You can move the gear shifter into the center console, fold flat, and then you can fold out a work surface. Actually pretty similar to the old style Crown Victorias. The police interceptors, they had sort of a table like that, or console. But anyway, it works out pretty well if you do have a laptop or you're going to be doing work. You can get this done. And keeping in mind, an XLT is typically considered more of a work truck because it is supposed to be on the lower end, not when it's near six figures. Now, the big feature that you do get with that 303A package is a 90-day trial of Ford's Blue Cruise. That is the hands-free, semi-autonomous driving system that works on the highways that you can use with vehicles like this F-150. We've tested it before on a number of other Ford and Lincoln products. I did use it on the way home. It works pretty well. And having the trial is good because the vehicle has all the equipment. So if you wanted to get the 3-year plan when you purchase the vehicle, you'd be looking at $2,100 US or $2,750 in Canada, which I think is a pretty decent deal. If you look at the Cadillac products and some of the Chevy and GMC vehicles now that come with GM Super Cruise, you got to pay for the equipment up front, and then you got to pay for both a data connection as well as the actual Super Cruise system. So we'll see down the road how this all unfolds, but a 90-day trial at least gives you a taste of what this vehicle can do. And then if you want to upgrade it, you can. If not, you do have adaptive cruise control with stop and go. Now, I did mention that this is pretty much fully equipped. We do have one extra package that has completely changed the look of this truck, and that is the XLT Black Appearance Package Plus. 20-inch gloss black wheels along the sides of the vehicle look really cool. Dual exhaust tips out back. The 6-inch black running boards. Body color bumpers. As I mentioned, we would have had chrome, so that is a nice change on this. The gray side box decals, because we do not have the off-road package. Thank you. We just have the regular 4x4 decals on back. They look nice. We also have black badging. The grille is black, and then we also have the dark interior accents with a black leather seating setup. The leather seats are really key. If you go with this, that's how you get it. If you go with the regular 303A package, you're still getting cloth seats. You got to get this package in order to get the leather. Now, for me, the thing that really throws me off about this truck are those badges, because I have pretty much never seen a Ford badge that, at least from the factory, wasn't blue. That is the whole reason why Ford is called the Blue Oval. So seeing them in black with the white accents on the outside, the white lettering instead of chrome, it's a little strange, but I'm getting used to it. It's something to get used to, but I do like it. Gives it a cool look. So I do like that. We're going to go around back. I'm going to talk about a couple of features back there, and then the big key. How has this changed from the one that we drove before? Because the pricing, it's going to surprise you. All right, we're out back here now of the F-150. You can see the taillights, they have changed up. I like them. They look pretty good. Blends in a little bit with the red paint on here. Big black Ford badge. Again, I'm getting used to it. Let's open up the tailgate. As I mentioned, we do have the option through the key fob because we have the remote starter system. Here we are in the tailgate. Now, we've talked about this truck before. It hasn't really changed. The back end, especially the sides, pretty much the same from 2021, and even the bed. No real big changes. We do have the 7.2 kilowatt onboard Pro Power system that allows you to run a number of items. If you're doing construction or, contractor work, things like that, whatever you may need, you've got it. Even if you're going camping, I don't care. I'm not here to judge what you're doing with your truck. The point is you've got capabilities with the onboard electric system. That's why you're going with the hybrid. Now we also have the bed utility package that includes the tailgate step that'll pop out here from the top of the tailgate to allow you to step into the bed quite a lot easier. We also have the work surface, which changes the tailgate up quite a bit. And that's something that I'd like to know from you, the viewer. Is this something that you would actually use? We do have both centimeters and inches built into the bed here, so you can use this as a tape measure. We have a little place here to put your pens, pencils, things like that. There's different materials, different surfaces, and then also we have clamps here. You can actually clamp something down with this, kind of connects here. So if you've got clamps, one on either side of the tailgate, if you're measuring or cutting something, you've got that. I don't know how comfortable I would be using a saw on my truck, but you could. If you're careful, you could certainly do it. So the bed utility group adds quite a bit. You also have 4 tie-down plates. Those are on the bed of the vehicle here, as well as LED lighting, which is certainly a plus. I mean, if you're going to be doing stuff at night, it is nice to have slightly better lighting. We also have the towing package on this that adds the trailer brake controller and will change the final drive ratio depending on which engine you go with. So good stuff to have there. Keep in mind, with this new facelift, the Class 4 trailer hitch is standard across the board for the F-150. You just would have to add the trailer towing package to get everything. And then you could also add the max towing package to get the most out of it. But I suspect most people not going to be towing a whole lot with this. This will be fine. Now, I mentioned pricing. How has this changed? $87,000 Canadian for this as configured. Back in 2021, we had a Lariat. So the trim above this, nicer design, chrome grille. It had a lot of the same features, you know, 360 camera, which is nice to have. Had the pano sunroof, gets ventilated seats, and I'd say nicer leather and nicer interior setup. That cost $82,000 3 years ago. So this is $5,000 more. This is a lower trim. Yeah, and I always bring this up, and I probably will continue to bring this up for the rest of our show. When I drove the 2018 GMC Sierra Denali, that vehicle was about $85,000, $87,000 with delivery, which is how we're pricing vehicles now on test drive. That had $4,000 chrome rims on it that you would not necessarily option. So that vehicle was about 83 grand 5-6 years ago. That was fully loaded with the 6.2 liter V8 engine. So if you needed any other proof that truck prices have gone berserk, this is it. Now, is it worth upgrading to it? That'll be a decision you have to make. We'll take it on the road. I'll tell you my thoughts on how this vehicle drives and everything, and we will talk about the price issue because it is important. If you're spending the kind of money on this, you want something that is going to work, it's going to be better than what you might have already, and it needs to make sense. So let's figure out if it does. All right, my friends, let's talk first about fuel efficiency. Probably if you're buying the hybrid, you're looking for something a little bit more fuel efficient, and we've got some very interesting results for you. We completed our test loop in this vehicle in normal mode because I didn't bother switching it. You got to switch it every time into eco, so this is done in normal mode in 8.8 liters per 100 kilometers, which is really good, especially for a full-size pickup truck. Now compare that back to 2021. We had a slightly different test loop, still 100 kilometers, but it was a different part of the planet. We were in Quebec, so we can't really compare apples to apples. But it does give us an idea of how that did compared to this. And it did it in 9.1 liters per 100 kilometers. So it was a little bit less efficient. Now, is that because the terrain and location and everything made a difference? Probably. So it is pretty darn close. I'd say that's within a pretty good margin of error based on the area. So if you're looking for fuel efficiency, then the PowerBoost absolutely makes sense. Now, there has been a couple things that I've noticed about it. First off, yeah, the transition between hybrid and gas and electric has been fine. No real worries there. You know, if I'm driving along, I keep the EV coach on my screen, shows me if I'm in hybrid mode. Usually if I let off the gas, it will go into EV mode because now we're going to be charging. It's doing that right now. Engine's still running, but we also just started the truck up. The thing that I have noticed though is when I come to a stop and the engine's running, it feels rough. You know, it feels like one of the cylinders is misfiring. There's like a rumble in the truck, you know, and I've experienced that before with trucks like, say, the Ram TRX, because it is such a big engine. It's got so much power, it's ready to go all the time, that you're gonna have a rumble no matter what. You don't expect that from a 3.5 liter EcoBoost PowerBoost V6 that is a hybrid system. So, you know, small little things like that. When you're driving, you don't feel it because the vehicle's moving. So any real vibration in the engine, you're not necessarily going to notice. But I'm just wondering, you know, it's happened a couple times when the engine's running at a stop. So I don't know if it's just normal. You got to live with it. Truck's only got 1,800 kilometers on it, so this one is pretty new. But it is something to note. You know, you're probably going to be in electric mode most of the time when you're at a stop anyway. But it is, you know, it's still important to discuss these things. You know, this is a bit of a negative. But so far, the drive and ride have been really good. I'm thankful that we don't have the FX4 off-road package. Ford loves to add that onto all of their press vehicles. Having it omitted this time means I actually have a much smoother, more comfortable ride, and that's what I like. I'm not doing any off-roading with my pickup truck. You know, if I were in the market for a vehicle like this, you know, I've moved to the city now, I don't really need a truck, but if I did, I would go with something like this because I don't need to go off-roading. I'm going to be doing light trails at the most. You know, if I'm going to a cottage or somewhere that's got dirt roads instead of asphalt, I don't need to have an FX4 package. So I like that. It is a little bit more comfortable. Noise insulation is pretty good on this. You don't hear too much of the outside world, which is nice. The speaker system is pretty basic, right? It's an 8 speaker versus the Lariat. We had the Bang & Olufsen Unleashed. That was an 18 speaker system. Again, $5,000 less a few years ago, so keep that in mind. But anyway, you know, overall the comfort's pretty good. The seats are good. Back seats are actually more comfortable, I'd say, than the front ones. They sink into the backs a little bit more. It's a little bit more plushy. So I do like that. But yeah, so far, I mean, the drive has been good. Performance is fine. You know, getting up to speed, I haven't had any issues. And we've done performance testing with the PowerBoost before. You can go watch the video before. We're not doing that this time because it's all about fuel efficiency. And I gotta say though, like, you know, this is the engine I would go with, 100%. There's no doubt about it. I've moved on from, you know, the 5-liter Coyote engine. It's old, it's tired. And even when they had the Power Stroke, the 3-liter turbo diesel, I liked it quite a bit. But, you know, if you're looking for something that you can use day to day, and you're not always towing, you're not always hauling, and you're driving it around like most people do as sort of like a family hauler, then the hybrid is the way to go. Am I using the Pro Power on the back? Not necessarily, but I do like the fact that it's there. If I were to do some sort of camping or, you know, go exploring somewhere and I want to have those abilities there, or if I'm doing work around the house. We did that quite a bit when we were living in Quebec. I'd use the trucks and bring the truck to a certain part of the house and use my power tools and stuff off of it. So there's plenty of reasons why you'd want to have it. I'd like to continue that here. But my major concern when it comes to this ultimately comes down to price, and I'm sure it is for everybody else as well. I mean, it is much more expensive than this was 3 years ago, and you got a better truck, you got more equipment, you had a nicer looking vehicle, and again, it was a little bit more prestigious, right? You see an XLT, it's like, right? You see a Lariat, you're, you know, at least spending a little bit of money, but now you're spending like platinum money basically for an XLT. You know, you've got the black badging on the side, and you know, the interior here is serviceable, but I mean, it's nothing fancy. It's all plastic here. All the material is you know, a little softness here, but for the most part, it's all plastic. And you're getting that because it's so expensive now. And yeah, you could option off a couple of things, but then you're losing stuff. So it's tough for me to justify the price of a lot of these vehicles these days. The thing is though, much like the real estate market here in Canada, in Ontario specifically, if you're in the market already, it makes it a little easier to stay in the market. Same thing with the truck. So if you bought a 2021, if you bought that Lariat that we featured for 82 grand, because the prices have gone up for the new trucks, it means the used truck prices have gone up as well. So not as much, but you're going to get a little bit more for your trade-in than you would have had prices stayed the same. So if you've already got yourself a truck, if you're looking to upgrade from a 2021, is it worth the upgrade? I'd say no. I'd say that the update has, yeah, it's changed the exterior look. It makes it pretty unique compared to the previous unfacelifted version. Is it worth the upgrade though? I don't personally think so. The front end on this looks fine. I'm not a big fan of this headlight setup. I do like the one on the Lariat, and that's the problem. They make the nicer ones obviously cost more money, so you have a reason to want to go and upgrade to that specific trim. So I would go with the Lariat, but I don't think I would upgrade if you already have a 2021. Now, if you have a 2018, absolutely, it's a good time to upgrade. You know, you can trade it in. Those are probably good in terms of resale value, so you're going to be getting a decent deal for your trade-in. And then if you're looking to get into a truck for the first time, I mean, I feel sorry for you because they are so expensive now. The entry level to get in is so high, but you do get a lot for it. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, these vehicles are quite capable, and that's why people continue buying them. Not only are they comfortable and they're big and now they're fuel efficient, but you know, you can do a lot with them. They are a very multifaceted vehicle. You've got so much you could do with these vehicles these days that why would you not buy one, right? And there's plenty of reasons why you wouldn't, but I'm just saying that there's a reason why they sell so well. There's a reason why Ford, GM, Chrysler, Toyota even have raised the prices for their trucks, because they know they'll sell them. They'll sell less of them, but if they sell them for more money, they're still making money. But there you have it. That's our video on this 2024 Ford F-150 XLT. If you have any questions about this truck, as always, we do get back to our viewers. I had somebody actually comment recently on one of our videos within the last, he commented like last week, but on one of the videos we've done recently, and I say that we are one of the few channels that gets back to everybody, and he tried to challenge us on that. He said, hey, I'm commenting, where's my reply? Boom, there it was. We reply to almost everybody. If the comment is constructive or something that we can reply to, we'll do it. If you're just replying with, you know, something negative about ourselves or the truck, I can't do much about that, but we do try to get back to everybody. So leave your comments. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, as we're doing a lot of content these days. We've got 3 hosts, so we got a lot of stuff coming your way. We want you to be informed, in the loop, and we want you to be part of the community. So thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.